So what should you buy and sell amid the busiest week of earnings season? Chart master Carter Worth looking at some earnings heroes and zeros. And I heard that you have a record-setting number of charts to share with us.
We shall see. Let's go quickly then. First, the S&P. Everyone knows this chart, but sometimes the most obvious things are the things to stare at. We know the peak was exactly 2940, spot 91 on September 21st. We have a 3-month decline. We ended on Christmas Eve at 2346, spot 58. Now, if I move this forward, what we also know is that we've had a perfect recovery of exactly 50% of the declining move. You can call it a retracement, you can call it Fibonacci, but the point is we've climbed back exactly 1/2 of the preceding move. There it is. That's the 50% level. And it's been here for a week and it's been stuck. The bull says, can you believe this? We've already climbed back 50%. The bear says, can you believe this? We've already climbed back 50% so quickly. It's way too steep. It's impetuous, not sustainable. Either is a fair interpretation. I'm in the latter camp. I think it struggles here and ultimately fails, and we do test those lows. In terms of a few big stocks, I want to just look at what would be arguably the two most steady S&P stocks, meaning Apple's big, but it's got idiosyncratic issues. So does Facebook. So does Amazon. These two stocks are literally trading in unison, and they have nothing to do with one another. Visa and Microsoft, 2-year chart, almost 100% correlation. Here's a 5-year chart. Exactly the same thing. The issue is they're being treated the same. Their ROEs are different. Their net income is different. Everything about them, and yet this is the behavior of money. These two stocks, I think, will tell us whether the market's going higher or lower. It drops 19% and rallies 14%. Microsoft, take a look at Visa. It's virtually identical. It drops 20, it rallies 14. And each stock is up against its declining 150-day moving average. In principle, that is not a good position to be in. More often than not, it's the beginning of a top. Take a look at Visa. It's the exact same circumstance. And my bet is both of these are headed lower. Microsoft, #1 contributor to the down move in the S&P today. Now, it's not all bad, right? There's always something to do. But first, forget the charts. Look at the fundamentals. There are 40 analysts covering both of these companies. And the 12-month price target of the 40 analysts covering Microsoft and the 40 analysts covering Visa, their 12-month projected return is identical. Are they doing any work? Or are they just saying these are great companies and this is what they should grow? The point is, it's the behavior of money. They're in unison. They're identical. Now a stock that I think is okay. Boeing. Guy was just talking about it. I think you can draw the lines this way if you'd like. It's a lot of consolidation. But what's important about this setup is now if I change to relative, as it's been consolidating and doing this, what it's been doing here is it's broken out and already made new highs relative to the S&P. That's an important circumstance. Stock acts well. I like Boeing long for earnings, Microsoft and Visa the other side. Sell.
Come on over, Carter. Shelby will bring the chair in.
Epic Carter work.
I mean,
Welcome, Carter.
I'm told that it was
Gummy warm?
12 charts.
That's your big ones.
A trap was set for you.
I can see that. I have a small piece of it.
Don't do it.
Yeah. When you had the Boeing chart, are you really going to eat that? It's quite large.
Yeah, no, see,
the size of the gummy is large.
Remember what happened last time, Carter?
I do not want this to happen, and yet here it's about to happen. All right.
Okay.
The Boeing chart.
The Boeing chart. When you drew the consolidation, the lines, it looked like it could go down.
Well,
but
sure.
that's
Okay,
real
so
limited
if you have a
upside
great
there.
run up and the stock consolidates for 2-3 years at a high, you can look at it as multiple contraction. The stock is getting cheaper. It keeps growing and growing and ultimately breaks out. The bear would say that's topping out. The relative strength is what's so good. I think this is setting up for something important to the upside.
So when you came up with Microsoft and Visa, did you just randomly search for which two big companies are the most tightly correlated, or how is it that you came about?
Just going A to Z. When I got to the M's, I noticed that Microsoft looked as when I was in the V's. I said, that looks a lot like Microsoft. Then I stuck them together and I said, I'll be darned. They are very similar. They're being treated the same, right? I mean, think, the ROE in Visa is almost double that of Microsoft. The gross margins are different, and yet it's safety. They're considered very safe, reliable businesses, whereas other stocks have issues. These stocks, I think, are very important for the market.
So I share your pessimism in the S&P, and I'm looking for it to break down as well. So you spoke about the Fibonacci levels or retracement levels.
Yep.
So this becomes that sell zone for people that are looking at home, 50% to 618. That's your sell zone. So I believe that there will be a retest, and I believe that it will fail. How deep do you think the retest, if you believe, I don't want to put words in your mouth, do you think we're going to retest?
So, or test the low, right? If you retest, that would be a triple bottom. So do we test low? We have a low. Do we test the low? I think we do test the low. And then good technique argues for buying at that low making the bet that it will hold. And if and as it doesn't, have the dexterity to flip it around and press a short for a break.
Carter, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Enjoy your gummies.
Yeah.
And chew it
Yeah.
with, with
I'm taking the rest of it with
Yeah,
with
go ahead.
patience.
Nobody
This is a
wants to
party
let you
favor.
touch them. Okay,
It's a
so
pro.
Visa and Microsoft, do you agree with Carter on his assessment of the charts? A negative outlook for them.
You know, Microsoft, well, and Visa, no, and Microsoft, no. I happen to agree with them on Boeing, obviously, because I said it before. I think Microsoft is fine. I think they were able to turn the ship around 3 or 4 years ago, so I think they're still riding that wave, and I think they're going to be fine in earnings. Visa, if you bet against Visa for the last 5 years, it's been difficult. With that said, I mean, Carter's work is pretty magnificent. I would say one thing about Caterpillar,
Pretty
though.
magnificent?
Yeah.
Very magnificent.
Very
Or magnificent.
Or just
Pretty magnificent doesn't even make sense to me.
Magnificent.
Thank you.
But this is what I took away from Caterpillar. You know, we can argue about the quarter. Was it great? Quarter wasn't great. Guidance wasn't great. But was it that bad that we saw it today in terms of its? Maybe the market is telling us that a deal with China isn't as close as many of us want to believe. Maybe that's what this sell-off today was telling you.